Hello class. What I'm going to be doing today in this lesson is showing you how to run basic descriptive statistics and frequencies on your data. It's pretty easy to do. It's very easy to do actually, and you're going to be using this a lot in class. So pay attention. It shouldn't be a very long lesson. So before we get into showing you how to do that on SPSS, I just want to draw your attention to our sleep experiment, which you can find posted on Canvas. You'll recall that we're looking at whether exercise prior to going to bed enhances the quality of sleep. Our primary independent variable is whether or not someone is in the control group or the treatment group. So we have one independent variable with two levels, and then we have three dependent variables or outcome measures: sex, average hours of slept per night, and sleep quality on a 10-point scale. I do quickly want to point out that here, looking at sex, even though we're recording this as a dependent variable, it could also be an independent variable if we wanted it to. So over here on the right, you have your independent variable. You have your three outcome measures. And you'll see that for the first participant, this was a person in the control group. It was a male. They reported sleeping an average of 8 hours per night, and they rated their sleep quality as an 8. So on and so forth. Okay, so actually let's go to SPSS, and here you see that I've entered the data into the spreadsheet, and if we go to variable view, you'll see that we have our independent variable, our three dependent variables. The two categorical variables have value labels. Okay, you guys remember how to do that from the last lesson. And I've defined my level of measurement, nominal or scale variable in this case. Okay, so going back to the actual data, so when we talk about descriptives and frequencies, when we talk about descriptive statistics, we're typically talking about measures of central tendency: the mean, the median, the mode, or the range, which is the highest versus the lowest score. So those are descriptive statistics, and also we're talking about standard deviation and variance, which are measures of variability. So we also, in addition to those measures of central tendency and variability, we also talk about frequencies. So when we talk about frequencies, we're talking about the number of observations in a particular category, or the relationship between observations in different categories. So just for example, if we take a look here at group, if I asked you what was the average number of people in the treatment group, that really wouldn't make any sense. So if I averaged all the people in the treatment group, which in this case is 11, the average would be 11. Okay, that really doesn't make any sense. So also, if I asked you to what was the average sex of people in our experiment, that wouldn't make any sense either. Okay, if we averaged these 11 ones and these 11 twos together, we would get an average of 1.5. So that really doesn't make any sense. What does make sense is if we talk about frequencies: how many people are in the treatment group versus how many people are in the control group, and sex: how many men are in the study versus how many women are in the study. So really, when we talk about frequency, we're not talking about the average or a measure of central tendency. We're talking about how many. Okay, so in order to, we're going to start with measures of central tendency and variability. So in order to get that information, this is very easy. You're simply going to go up here to Analyze and bring down this drop-down menu. You're going to arrow over to Descriptive Statistics, and you are going to click on Descriptives. Okay, this dialog box will pop up here, and this allows you to choose what descriptive statistics you want for which variables. So for example, if I arrow over or drag over hours slept and I go to options, you'll see here that I can ask for the mean, the standard deviation, the variance, the range, the standard error, and I can also ask for the sum of the scores, which I'm not going to check right now, but I just click continue, click OK. And here is the SPS output. It shows me that for hours slept, we have 22 observations. The lowest score in the distribution was 4. The highest score was a 9. So that would help me calculate the range if I didn't ask for it. And then here's the mean, 6.20 with a standard deviation of 1.47 after rounding. And those are my descriptive statistics for the average number of hours slept. So again, on average, these 22 people reported that they slept an average of 6.2 hours per night. Okay, so pretty straightforward. So I'm going to close that. Okay, and then let me show you how to calculate frequencies, okay, for your categorical variables. That's very easy as well. You simply go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, choose Frequencies, and again, you can bring over your categorical variable. So this is going to show me frequencies of groups. We're not going to worry about statistics right now. That will become more pertinent later. We're going to click OK. And ta-da, it shows me that we have 11 people in the control group and 11 people in the treatment group. So half of our sample is in the control group and half is in the treatment group. And that's pretty much all there is to it. There are a couple of other features that are handy where you can look at means among groups. So for example, if we were to go to Analyze and Descriptive Statistics, and we wanted to go to, if we wanted to go to Compare Means here and select Means, okay, now we can look at your descriptive statistics as a function of your, the descriptive statistics on a dependent variable as a function of your independent variable. So for example, if I wanted to look at the number of hours slept per night as a function of sex, I would bring this over to the independent variable list, and I would bring this over to the dependent variable list. I can select my options here. I'm not going to worry about anything there, and then I can click OK. So again, what I'm asking the computer to do is to show me the average hours slept per night as a function of sex. Click OK. And it shows you that for males, it essentially breaks it down. So for males, they reported an average of 6.27, and for females, they reported an average of 6.14, and their total, which is the average of males and females, is 6.20, which we saw previously. So this function is very handy when you are calculating means to report in an article, for example. So when you have a lot of means that you want to put into a table, this is a very handy way to do that. So we can also do that, I want to point out, we can also do this with frequencies. So for example, if I want to look at the relationship between the control group and sex, I can do that as well. So here, because these are both categorical variables, recall in our last example, right, we had sex, which is categorical, and we're looking at hours slept, which is a scale variable. So now we're going to look at the relationship between group and sex, which are both categorical variables. Okay, so if I go to Analyze, if I go to Descriptive Statistics, and I go to Crosstabs, and this is actually the function you would use to compute chi-square. We're not going to worry about that right now, but I can bring over group in a row, and I can bring over sex in a column, and this is actually where you would set up your statistics to calculate chi-square in crosstabs, but again, we're not going to worry about that. Anyway, I brought over group in row and sex in column, and we're going to click OK. Okay, and it shows me that down here, in the control group, I have 5 males and 6 females. In the treatment group, I have 6 males and 5 females. Okay, so again, this is a way of establishing frequencies, breaking it down by a function of your independent variable if you so choose. And that is really all there is in terms of calculating descriptive statistics and frequencies. It's one of the most basic functions you'll do in SPSS. So again, to get your descriptive statistics, you're going to come down here to descriptives and then select descriptives. To get your frequencies, you're going to do the same thing, and you're going to select frequencies. If you want to look at your variable, if you want to look at your descriptives as a function of an independent variable, you're going to go to Analyze, Compare Means, and select Means. And again, you can bring over your variables, your independent variables and your dependent variables. And then finally, if we want to look at the relationship between two categorical variables, we'll go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and then select Crosstabs. Okay, bring over one of your categorical variables to the row, bring the other one over to the column, and then click OK, and there you go. Okay, so that's it for calculating and showing descriptive statistics and frequencies. And things will become a little more complex, and there's also obviously some things you can do with graphs and things like that, but that will be another lesson. Okay, until next time.